So my stepson, Carolyn's son, is already causing trouble with the community. I'll talk all about that in a minute. She's not causing any trouble. That's Skitty. You've all met Skitty before. She's quite happy here. Go through a quick story of how she came about to be here. First time I met her, I caught her in a live trap. I was trying to catch a raccoon. The raccoons and possums are pretty dangerous to our chickens. The possums actually get in there. The possums can climb over. I guess raccoons can too, but the possums will climb over. I didn't know they can climb, but they're actually really good climbers. And they'll climb over. The neat thing about the possum is they go in there to eat the chicken food. They will try to attack a chicken, but if the chicken can resist, the possum usually gives up. But the raccoon won't, man. It's a battle royale. I've seen the remnants of a raccoon attack on a chicken. It's horrific. So I was trying to catch that raccoon, and I ended up catching her by accident. She meowed. I don't know if she was meowing all night or not, but she didn't like being in that live trap. I don't know, maybe a day later, I saw her again. She wasn't overly skittish. We had a cat in the past. I say we had a cat. He just hung around. I fed him quite a bit. I call her a she. He just wouldn't ever tame down enough to let me pet him or anything. Well, when I was building the porch roof, he laid here on the bridge. And I thought, you know what? He's starting to come around. But he got mixed up with a female cat. And I bet he got ran over. I know the female cat got ran over, but I bet he did too. So he was very skittish. You couldn't get within 20 feet of him. But she wouldn't just run off as soon as she saw you. She would hang around. Well, I had a bucket of lard sitting right up there. We just got done cooking, I don't know, probably popcorn if I had to guess. We don't eat popcorn anymore, but we were back then. She was trying to get the lid off the bucket of lard. It was real cute. She was trying to, with her teeth. And I took it from her. Well, I still had one can of cat food left over from that other cat, which he'd been gone for probably a year. So I opened it up and she ate it, and she has hung around ever since. She would hang out pretty much all summer, last summer, underneath the house or on the bridge here. She would also get up here. This is where we fed her, and she made friends with the raccoons around here. One morning I got up to feed her, put the food out, and the raccoon was crawling up the side here. Now she was on top, trying to get to the food while I'm standing there. Again, get the live trap out. Now the problem with the live trap is I don't want to catch her. Now this was last summer. She had ear mites, and we constantly kept treating for ear mites. They would get better, but apparently they never got completely cured. There was one point where she was very largistic. I think that's the right word. She just didn't want to move. I thought she had an ear infection. I smelled her ears. They smelled terrible, so we started treating for ear infections. She finally got better. Uh-oh, she's watching a cardinal. That is something else. Cardinal landed on the cook stove over here a while back to eat some of the bacon grease that had splattered. And she just watches it. I don't know if she hunts them or not. She does hunt mice, small frogs, that kind of thing. I don't know if she hunts the birds though. There was two things I wanted to do with her. I wanted to get her inside, and I kept taking her inside, you know, a little bit at a time, feed her a little bit in there, and she'd go straight to the door, start meowing real loud, wanting out. It just never worked. She'd only go in for a few minutes. I think there was only one time where she decided she'd just go under the bed and lay, but other than that, that was it. And then the second thing I wanted to do was I wanted to get her spaded. I just didn't want to have a bunch of kittens laying around here. It would have just been terrible. So I wanted to get those two things done. Now, I thought she was really young. I figured she was under a year old when she showed up. She was so small. I don't know how much of that smallness was a result of her being starved to death. I mean, she was terribly malnutritioned. I don't know if somebody dropped her off. I would suspect somebody dropped her off, or somebody mistreated her and she ran off, and this is where she ended up. I don't know. Why would you starve to death knowing you got food down the hill? I just don't know. But she really doesn't go too far from the property line. She goes out in the woods, and she does cross over on the other person's property just a little bit, but not too far. Probably not more than 20 feet. So I don't even know how she knows what the property line is, but that's as far as she goes. She's starting to stray more and more down to the north end of the property. down where the camper, the truck camper is. She's actually been in the truck camper. She sniffs around the chickens. Now, she does not bother the chickens. Chickens don't bother her. That would be one heck of a fight for her. She would win, but you got 17 or 16 chickens that she's got to go up against. It's just too many for her. She'd get hurt. It's not like they were best friends, but they don't hurt each other. But she sure does help around here. Keep the mice population down and the snake population. I'm not too sure about the snake population. I know the last cat we had was really good with the snake population. As a matter of fact, we had snakes underneath the solar panels, and he would constantly chase those things out. So I suspect she does the same thing. But with the mice, when she's not around, mice show right back up. But when she's here, we don't have a problem. So when winter finally got here, we got down to 30 something degrees, like 32. I mean, it was below freezing. And I came out to give her food, and she was just, you could tell she was cold. Now, it was pretty cold in the house too. I would say it was in the low 60s, probably 60 degrees in the house. So I brought her in, and she immediately ran to the door, just meowing as loud as she can. And then she realized, wow, it's warm in here. She immediately stopped meowing, went underneath the bed, and she stayed there all day. Well, now she sleeps on the bed with us. It's kind of cute. She likes Carolyn's comfort more than mine, I would guess, is the best way to put it. So she started out laying on Carolyn's stomach at night, and Carolyn would pet her ears or whatever. But she would not do that with me. Well, here recently, I'd say in the last month, she's been coming over to me more and more and more, getting her ears pet. Now, this is in the middle of the night. Well, I say middle of the night. It's probably an hour to half hour before I actually get out of bed, so it's not terrible. And I like spoiling her. She'll lay on my stomach now, and I can pet her. Well, this morning she got on my stomach, and I tried to pet her, and it only lasted for a couple minutes, and then she got off of me. And so I'm thinking I must not pet as well as Carolyn does. Carolyn's got fingernails and I don't, so maybe that scratching is more of a comfort. I don't know. But the one thing she does like is before she goes lays on Carolyn's stomach, every time, she'll jump up on the bed, come over to me, and I got to stroke her back 3 times. That's it, 3 times. Then she walks over to Carolyn, lays on her stomach. That's something that she has to have. She is very smart, and we think that's because Carolyn and I are very routine people. We do everything the same time every day. We feed her at the same time. We let her outside at the same time. We get up at the same time. It's not very noisy or bustly in the house. It's just me and Carolyn. Carolyn's son came in the house a while back, sat down, and she didn't like that at all. She went underneath the bed for a few minutes and then just decided she wanted to go outside. So she's very routine, and I think that routine helps her observe our behaviors, and it makes her very smart. When it's really cold outside, she was knocking on the door. I don't know how she was doing it. I never caught her actually doing it, but she would knock on the door to get my attention. And again, routine, I was like, wonder what that noise is, and there she is, so I'd let her in. I really enjoy having her around. So now, like I said, Carolyn's son is here. The community is absolutely furious about it. I mean, it's just, I don't even know what to do. I guess we're just gonna have to kick him out because the community just can't stand him. I've mentioned many times now that we bought that camper. He's staying in it, got it fixed up, got the electric ran to it, we got water going to it now. We still need to pull it up here. I would rather have it over here than over there. You can't see it right now. It's hidden behind the house. He's getting settled in. He's painting the walls. He did get a job. I told you the first day he was here, he got an interview. Well, he got the job. Yes, he's going to start this week. The person said that they would text him and let him know what his hours were. You got to get all the paperwork submitted and entered into the computer system before they can actually bring him in. I tell you, the subscribers have been very objectional about the whole thing. I mean, some are happy that we are helping him out, but when it actually comes to him, well, he needs to do this and he needs to do that. I mean, one of the things that I didn't understand is he needs to hook up electricity from the power pole to the camper so he can have electric. We live off grid. I don't even understand the concept of why he's got to buy electric. It would cost a fortune, I would imagine, to hook it up, because first thing we'd have to do is we'd have to wire the pole. I mean, right now it's got the meter and the breaker, but it doesn't have any wires coming out of it. It has some running over here where the old trailer was. We'd have to disconnect all that, hook up I guess a plug, and I don't even know what kind of plug we'd have to get. Maybe, I don't know, 30 amp, I'm not sure. So that would take a lot of studying and understanding, or hiring an electrician to come out and do that. Then he'd have to call the electric company. They come out, hook it up. It's $9 a month, even if he doesn't use any. And I know a lot of people, that's not much, but it's a lot if you're not using any. I mean, you're just paying a bill just to be paying bills. I'd never understand this concept. Oh, that's not much. Well, it's a lot more than free. And I've talked about this quite a bit. People want us to do things when we have free options. Go buy a generator. Well, we already have a generator. Go hook up the electric. Well, we already have electric. That costs money. This is free. I think in yesterday's video I mentioned that they want him to get a 500-gallon propane tank and hook it up. I mean, how much money is that to start up with? And I'm not even sure why we really need the propane. I mean, he's got a water heater. We got a water heater, cook stove, Coleman cook stove, and a little buddy heater. But winter's almost over, so he won't be using that buddy heater much more, or if any. And then if he is here, this is the key, the big if he is here next winter, we'll just get a little camping wood stove. You can buy them off Amazon for like $150, and then he could burn firewood. I don't know if people forget when they're watching this channel that it is an off-grid channel. I don't know what the mindset is, but a lot of people seem to think that now he is here, it's going to make our life more comfortable because he can hook us up to the grid. We can be on the grid if we wanted to. All we have to do is hook it up. But what the latest thing is a dog. He has to get a dog now. And I'm just blown away by this. Now, I have said in the past that we don't want a dog. Our house is too small. And I am the type of person that if you're going to own a dog, it has to be an indoor dog. Leaving it outside is mistreatment in my mind. Now, people will say, well, you have chickens. I don't know. Just my mind says if you're going to have a pet, and so pets come inside. The cat had to come inside. She wanted to be outside, but my mind says she had to come inside when it got cold. So this subscriber said, well, since you can't have a pet because your house is too small, now he's got a camper, he needs to get a dog there to protect the chickens. Well, I don't understand why we have to get a dog to protect the chickens. So the chickens give us eggs, and eggs do feed us, and it supplements a good portion of our meal cost. So let's just say that eggs supplement $100 worth of our food cost. So what this means is now we have to go out and buy dog food for the dog, which is going to take at least $100 a month to feed a dog to protect our chickens. The thing is the dog is going to be inside. I'm not sure how the dog is going to chase off raccoons when it's inside. Now, I'm sure people are going to say, well, it can bark and make noise. We have an alarm down there, actually. The problem with the alarm is it goes off for everything. A leaf goes by, it goes off. So over time, you begin to ignore it. So how long would it be before we just told the dog, hey, be quiet, you're making too much noise, and he's actually trying to warn us of a raccoon? It's another example of people suggesting that you got to spend more money. I always say you got to spend $1 million to save 10, but you got to spend more money to save less. There is no reason to spend $100 or $200 a month on dog food so we can get $100 worth of eggs. It just doesn't make sense. I know the mindset. And the mindset is, well, you got to have a dog because it's friendly and it's comfort and it's happy, and and you're showing love to an animal. It's just a pet thing. People want a pet. The problem is if we put a dog in that camper, we don't have air conditioning. So in the heat of the day, while her son is at work, the dog's going to be in the camper just dying of heat. So I think it's actually abusive. It just seems to me that there are a lot of people in the comment section, the community, that doesn't want or they want a lot more than anybody would expect from anybody to do. So if you click this up next box, take you to a video where I was talking about the propane. So if I can inspire you to think minimalistically, stop needing all these things so you can live your dream. Thanks for watching.